You're watching KSL Sports Live.
If you love football, you've come to the right place. The Sunday best from the NFL, locals in the NFL on the way as well.
Yeah, we also focused on some college football. The Utes, they're getting ready for a big game in Pullman, and we try to diagnose what has gone wrong for BYU. Stevenson Sylvester, he's in the studio. He'll help us out.
Well, we've got to start the night off with the unexpected start by the Utah Jazz. The Will Hardy era beginning with wins over the Denver Nuggets in the season opener, and then in overtime, a win on the road against Rudy Gobert and the Timberwolves.
Yeah, is this start sustainable, though? Can this Jazz team surprisingly contend for a playoff spot in the West? There's still a long ways to go, but there's also still a lot to learn about this team with those 79 left to go after tonight. Well, tonight was another road game against another Western Conference contender, the 2-0 New Orleans Pelicans. Lauri Markkanen is averaging more than 20 points through his first two games, and in the first quarter on Sunday, he nearly hit that average. The feed from Mike Conley for the dunk ties the game at 14. Then how about the offensive rebound? And the pretty finger roll ties it up at 16. We know he has the touch from three as well. Hits this one from the wing. And then down the lane, he's going to follow his own miss for two more. Markkanen with 14 first quarter points. Jazz up 2 after 1. Zion Williamson lost all of last season to a foot injury, but he didn't lose that explosive hop. Second quarter, rises up for the dunk, cuts the Jazz lead to 129-28. A couple minutes later, how about another? This time the alley-oop gives the Pelicans a 5-point lead. We're getting to know a lot about these new faces on the Jazz. Tonight we saw a new side of Jared Vanderbilt. Kelly Olynyk feeds him for the dunk there. Later on, Vanderbilt, watch this, scoop and score and draws the foul. That three-point play. Less than a minute to go in the half. Vanderbilt for three. He actually hit 2 of them in the half. His career high is 16 points in a game. Tonight he had 15 in the first half. Jazz were up by 10 at the break. The game tightened up a bit in the third quarter, but that's when Markkanen made sure to keep Utah out in front. Another 3-ball for him to go up by 8. Then Markkanen going down the lane with the floater. He had a 31-point night, and the Jazz were up 91-84 after 3. In the fourth quarter, Jazz build a 16-point lead thanks to plays like this one. Mike Conley with the steal, pull up from 3, knock it in. The defensive play of the game might be this one. Zion going up for the dunk and Jordan Clarkson swatting it away. But the Pelicans would go on a 25-5 run. CJ McCollum 3 here gives New Orleans a 110-107 lead. Under a minute to go. Clarkson nearly throws this away, but Markkanen saves it. Clarkson pulls up for 3. We're going to overtime, tied at 110. In OT, we'll just get right to the final 10 seconds. CJ McCollum would give New Orleans the lead with the floater, 121-120. Just enough time for Will Hardy to drop one more play.
Down to 3, down to 4. Olynyk back to Markkanen. No, he kept the ball. Rolls inside. Finger rolls it with 3.1 to play.
Wasn't quite sure if that's what he drew up, but it was, and it worked. The Utah Jazz are now 3-0 with the 122-121 win.
Our team's got heart. This group is fun. They stick together. They root for each other. Again, another night, another different closing lineup. Welcome to Team 49.
Kind of everybody fanned out and thought I had a lane and took it and made a tough finger roll.
He's a little bit of a magician sometimes with the ball. I'm not sure the scoop down the middle of the lane was what we saw coming when he took off driving, but credit to Kelly. He had a great night.
A great game tonight featuring the Blazers and Lakers, and what a night for Damian Lillard. Back healthy. With the Blazers down 6 with 3 minutes left, he took over a game-high 41 points, 15 of 25 from the field, 6 of 13 from 3. Yes, it was Dame time, giving the Blazers a 2-point lead with 12 seconds left. LeBron would tie the game with a drive and dunk. He had 31 to lead the Lakers. But the Blazers turned to an unlikely hero late to win it. Jeremy Grant drives on LeBron and scores. He had 16. Lakers 6 of 33 from 3. They fall to 0-3. The Blazers are 3-0.
In college football, the Utes, they had the bye, but didn't stop them from moving up in the AP Top 25. Utah up 1 spot to number 14 in the nation. They've got the short week this week. They'll be heading to Pullman. That Thursday night game with Washington State. Wazoo's 4-3. They've lost 2 straight games, though.
Rising toward the end zone, and he's caught. And Dixon goes home. Throws, and it's caught. End zone touchdown. Pick it up, and that's a pick 6.
right, it's time to get serious. Bye week's over. Utes, it's time to lock in. They're tied for second with USC, UCLA. Oregon obviously on top. It's kind of getting to crunch time. There's so many scenarios here in play with the Pac-12 championship. Who gets in and who doesn't? Can you simplify it for us?
Simply, Utah just win, take care of your business, and we go home. That's exactly what it is. We get to the Pac-12 championship. But there's too many things to figure out this early. Actually, it's midway through conference play, but we got to wait until later on in the season. That big week against Oregon, which is the week that USC, UCLA plays, that's going to be the big determining factor.
So you're saying 1 week at a time?
1 week.
1 week at a time, right? Well,
fine, Coach.
You did say, though, that they've got to win out. If they're going to do that, what do they have to do differently maybe from this first half of the season to take care of that?
Well, besides the obvious, we need a kicker, right? We've been put in way too many predicaments. But defensively, we need to work on our pre-snap communication. We've had horrible pre-snap communication in spurts this season that's put us in bad positions, like the UCLA game here. We had 3 guys on one side. Next thing you know, it's a 70-yard under-route touchdown for UCLA. And then also pre-snap communication helps us. And so when we do well, we have good pre-snap communication. It leads to big plays for this defense. Turnovers and then big sacks like this in this USC game. Because we had good pre-snap communication, on the backside, the defensive backs did their business, made Caleb Williams hold the ball here, and then Gabe Reed gets a 20-yard sack. Here, these DBs do a great job. Caleb Williams doesn't have an open window, so he tries to extend the play with his legs, and the next you know, those D linemen get on him. So I think that the biggest thing from the first 7 games that I saw, if Utah handles their business by working on their pre-snap communication, make sure everybody knows what they're doing, everything will take care of itself.
Communication and knowing what you're doing. That's pretty simple, right? That's the formula. All right, we'll be back with more on the Cougars coming up.
Enough white jerseys on the perimeter, they just don't block the right guys.
BYU searching for answers after an embarrassing performance against Liberty. Who's to blame? Coaches, players, who's holding themselves accountable? We'll diagnose it next.
Lowry Markkanen turning some heads in this Will Hardy offense and defense.
Yeah, Lauri Markkanen going to be a Jazz All-Star? Maybe. We'll hear from him coming up.
You're watching KSL Sports Live.
Big League Baseball, Game 5 of the National League Championship Series between the Padres and Phillies. Bottom third. Phillies first to score. It's Rhys Hoskins with the 2-run homer. So it's 2-0 Philadelphia. Padres do come back to take the lead in the top of the 7th. Jose Azocar, who came in to pinch run, scores on the wild pitch. And the Padres are up 3-2. Bottom of the 8th. Runner on for Bryce Harper. Look at that swing. Wow. That one put Philly right back in front. A 2-run shot, and the Phillies, guess what? They are headed back to the World Series for the first time since '09.
Rain delayed the start of Game 4 of the ALCS between the Astros and the Yankees, but it could not delay the inevitable. The Astros down 5-4 in the 7th. 2 men on for Yordan Alvarez, who singles to right. Altuve scores. Pena scores. That ties the game at 5. Next up, Alex Bregman singles. Pena scores the go-ahead run. The Yankees' last hope in the bottom of the 9th was Aaron Judge, and he grounds out. The Astros now 7-0 in the postseason. They're going back to the World Series for the 4th time in 6 years. Astros, Phillies in the World Series. Get ready. All right, things went from bad to worse for the BYU Cougars on Saturday. A 41-14 loss to the Liberty Flames, a loss that saw the Cougars outscored 38-0 in the final 3 quarters.
And, you know, for a team that had such high expectations and had sold us all really on how deep and talented their roster is, what we're seeing on the field is pretty baffling right now. The Flames ran all over the Cougars' defense on Saturday, 300 yards on the ground at 6.3 yards per clip. They also had 3 rushing touchdowns fueled by Dede Hunter's 213 yards, which included a back-breaking 80-yard touchdown run in the second half. Once again, BYU was abysmal on 3rd downs, allowing Liberty to convert 7 of 12 third downs, 2 for 2 on 4th downs. Kalani confirmed he was calling the plays for the defense on Saturday, so what happened?
I thought simplifying the game plan would be a lot easier for us to execute. And the thing is, now the film doesn't lie. We're going to go back and check it out and see what the reason why that we didn't execute. Where is the fault?
So where does BYU go from here? Well, they host East Carolina on Friday. The Pirates, they're pretty good. 5-3 on the season. They lost by just 1 against North Carolina State in the season opener. They're coming off a 34-13 win over Big 12 bound Central Florida. It won't be easy to end the losing streak. After being in the top 15 earlier in the season, it's strange to see the Cougars in this position weeks later, but they'll continue to fight.
To not achieve expectations, our own expectations, that sucks. That sucks.
It's a matter of staying together. You can't fall apart now. It's the time when we need each other the most. And Puka got up and shared a good message with everybody, about having reality checks with ourselves and, finding within ourselves to love the game a little bit more, to do a little more.
Every game from here on out is a Super Bowl for us, and that's that is the mindset that I expect our players to go through and our staff to go through in every game. It doesn't matter who the opponent is, but now is time for us to really show and form our identity out of this adversity.
All right, this is not fun, but in order to get better, you've got to study the film. That's why Stevenson Sylvester's here. He's going to help us out with this. Sly, Kalani said in an earlier soundbite there that he took over the play calling and he simplified things. Mm-hmm. If they simplified things, why did everything look so difficult for this defense?
Yeah, they still look confused out there. Yeah. They're still not doing the things that they preached. And here's the thing is, Kalani was my coach, so I know what he teaches. And the things that I'm seeing out there is not translating onto the field. So, again, they had red zone woes in this football game. This was a basic power O by the offense that was an easy walk-in touchdown there. But pre-snap, things that kind of surprise you here, all the D linemen are really pressed on this line of scrimmage, and I think it's because of the strength here. But because of the Y-off tight end, you got two linebackers outside, but this is a D lineman here. This is Alden Tofa, D lineman playing the linebacker position. As playing the linebacker position, he doesn't know the linebacker techniques. He's slow on his reads to read the puller from the power O, from the Y-off tight end and the guard, and so he gets caught up by the right tackle. Ben Bywater does a great job of cutting off the north and south penetration of the running back, making him bounce. But because Tofa is a D lineman playing a linebacker, he's supposed to be in scrape technique, supposed to be outside. Essentially, him and Bywater are supposed to switch positions. And because he doesn't know that technique, he doesn't read it quickly enough. He gets caught up by the offensive tackle, and he's lost essentially on that play. So there's a lot of basic things that aren't going well for BYU.
That brings up a question in my mind that you don't have the answer, and maybe they need to have: why is a defensive end playing linebacker, and why is the linebacker? That's obviously it would set up to have some issues right there, right? So is that part of the problem?
Yeah, well, honestly, in this defense, I know Tofa's a senior, but I think that they try to give the offense different looks. If you say so basic, offenses are able to adjust and get you. But honestly, the basic is what this team needs. And they're trying to give different odd fronts, defensive fronts, give the offense different looks, and it's catching them in bad positions. As we seen last week, they were too close to the line of scrimmage to be able to establish the routes that are needed to define themselves. There's a lot of basic technique things that they're trying to overcompensate with bluffing, and they're just getting caught.
It was like Tyler Batty said, though, the players have got to make the plays. They're the ones out there doing it. So that's what the Cougars have got to do. These players have got to figure it out.
The count is on. Down to 3, down to 4. Olenek back to Markkanen. No, he kept the ball. Rolls inside. Finger rolls it with 3.1 to play.
Yeah, the unexpected hero, Kelly Olynyk, with the game winner, and the celebrations are lit in the Utah Jazz locker room. The Jazz are a surprising 3-0 start this season to begin the Will Hardy era. Those last 2 points by Olynyk were the final 2 in a 20-point night for him. But the Jazz leading scorer through 3 games, it's a different newcomer to the roster. It's Lauri Markkanen, who came into Sunday's game averaging 20.5 points through the first 2 games. He took it up a notch against the Pelicans. Markkanen got hot early. At one point in the first quarter, he scored 12 straight points. He hit the 20-point mark by halftime. He was well on his way to the 16th 30-point game of his career, finishing with 31 points on 9 of 17 shooting, a perfect 11 of 11 from the free throw line. He also added 12 rebounds, 2 steals, 2 assists, and a block in the Jazz win.
He had the quietest 31 tonight I think I've ever seen. Maybe I just wasn't paying attention to him as much. But he's just a blast to coach because, again, you can put him in a variety of situations and he finds a way to be successful. And, for a guy that scores 31 points, he's not looking for his own. He just takes what the game gives him, and if the game tells him to shoot, he shoots.
Now back to college football. The 14th-ranked Utah Utes are back in action this week. A tough trip to Pullman Thursday to take on the Washington State Cougars. Kickoff time is 8 p.m. and the forecast says the temperature will be right around 40 degrees at kickoff on the Palouse. It's going to be crisp. Both teams have the benefit of the bye week. The Utes put that time to good use. The win over USC was incredible, but far from perfect. Plenty of correction and practice needed for this team, according to Clark Phillips, as they try to repeat as Pac-12 champs.
We try to get better every single week, but I'd say we definitely got to be better in the back end, the secondary, as well as the front seven. We got to make sure that we're getting pressure on the queue, and we just got to make sure we continue to cover, and make plays on the ball. We really want to force turnovers, and that's something that we didn't really do very good this past game. We look forward to every challenge, and this one is going to be the most important one. We got a big bye week coming up, so we want to get the recovery, get the rest, and also prepare the best so that we can go dominate those guys.
All right, for this week's archive, we're going to go back a decade, 11 years to be exact. The first year in the Pac-12 for the Utes when they traveled to Pullman in late November. The first score of the game came from punter Sean Selwood. He threw a pass on a fake to Luke Matthews for a 49-yard touchdown. As the game went on, the snow started to fall. And John White, the fourth, he got stronger. He carried the ball 42 times for 192 yards, including a 56-yard touchdown run in the snow. In the fourth quarter, Wazoo would rally in that fourth and kicked a game-tying field goal from the time expired to force overtime. In OT, Mo Lee picked off Connor Halliday for the second time, and Coleman Peterson would send the Utes home with a 38-yard field goal in the snow. A memorable moment up in Pullman.
Well, each week on KSL Sports Live, we pick a former Utah high school athlete who's doing remarkable things on the field of play at the collegiate level. This is Hometown Heroes, brought to you by Brent Brown Toyota. And this week's Hometown Hero is Southern Utah running back Braden Whistler. He had a huge game against Stephen F. Austin on Saturday. Whistler carried the ball 14 times for 155 yards. That's 11.1 yards per carry. He had a 27-yard touchdown run in that game for SUU in the fourth quarter. It gave them the lead at the time. All career highs for the freshman, who also had 3 receptions for 19 yards. Now, what he did on Saturday reminded us an awful lot of what he did for the Bingham Miners. He was their running back from 2016 to 2019. Missed his entire senior year due to injury, but his junior year, he was pretty outstanding, carrying the ball 148 times, 955 yards, and 16 touchdowns. He helped the Miners win a state title.
We have to take a quick timeout, but we're not done. Slides back to talk locals in the NFL.
And the top 5 plays from week 1 of the high school football playoffs are on the way. And speaking of high school football, we've also got the Game Night Live highlight reel. It's loaded and ready to roll. We'll show you that when we come back.
All right. You know what's next? The highlight reel. Yeah, we had the high school football playoffs get underway this week. Round 1 action is now in the books, and teams provided us with some great moments as they fought to keep their season alive.
Yeah, and so what we do is we take all of those great moments, we bundle it all together for this, the Game Night Live highlight reel.
greatest high school football. Now, there were some great plays in the first round of the playoffs. As always, we have to pick the 5 best on Game Night Live.
Yeah, this is the segment that we love to call the Game Night 5, and here they are. Let's count them down.
Number 5 is from Viewmont versus Cedar Valley. Viewmont's Cole Mudrow catches the ball off the back of the defender. Let's look closely. Yeah, right off his backside, and that went for a big gain in that first-round playoff game. One more look.
If that's number 5, we've got some amazing plays on tap. Here's number 4, Millard's Connor Ham going airborne and off balance for the catch up the sidelines. My goodness, what a play in a big playoff atmosphere.
Kern's season came to an end after a loss at Riverton, but Capelli Smith went out fighting. This touchdown catch would have been good in the NFL. The toe tapper for 6. This is Kern's Capelli Smith right there with the toe tapper.
Cedar Valley had a lot of great plays in their game. Our number 2 play.
Whoa.
Yeah, that's Tegan Hansen. He can fly. He came down. I mean, just watch him go up, come down with that, and he scores the touchdown. Breaks the plane, too, for the 6 points.
That wasn't number 1?
No.
Okay, I got to see number 1. Not only the play of the week, it might be the Utah High School football catch of the year. Orem receiver Roger Saliaponga, one-handed in the Tigers' playoff win over Uinta. We cannot watch this enough. Incredible. All right, we're on to the second round of the playoffs. Region 1 champ Syracuse will host Game Night Live on Friday. The Titans are the 6th seed in the 6A playoffs. They will host the defending 6A champion, the Lone Peak Knights. We believe this game starts at 6. It's not official yet. We will let you know later in the week. This game will be on the KSL TV app, KSL Sports app, and KSLSports.com, along with several other playoff games that will be streaming live online. We are your home for high school football, KSLSports.com.
And you know what? We also had girls soccer handing out the hardware over the weekend. State championship highlights are on the way when KSL Sports Live returns. How about some soccer championship highlights? Class 6A, Davis was taking on Farmington. This was the only goal of the game. It was the only one they needed in the first half from Davis's Kayla Wade. And the Darts get their 6th state title in school history.
We've been very fortunate to be in several of these before and win some of them as well. But this is probably the most unexpected state championship that we've had. Yeah, it's a big thing. These kids
Brr. Good thing it was warm on Friday. Class 5A, 10-seeded Skyline, 7-seeded Bountiful went to a shootout to decide the title. Skyline's goalkeeper Grace Kinghorn comes up big, starts out with 2 huge stops. Then the Eagles, Clara Love would seal the deal with this PK. And Skyline earns back-to-back championships. They've won 3 out of the last 4.
It's fun. It's a lot of fun. We started the season with losing 3 region games. I don't think nobody expected that we're going to get to the end, but I know the coaches, we know the players that we had, and you know, everybody kept focused and keep the girls are resilient, and this is what happened.
The 4A state championship game featured defending champ Mountain Crest taking on Snow Canyon for the title. Sophomore Hadley Barrera had a brace in this game. Hadley Glenn had a shutout in goal as well. They led the Mustangs to a 3-0 win. They repeat as the 4A champs. Congratulations.
Also 3A, RSL Academy wins, and in 2A, Roland Hall wins. Their 6th in 9 tries. Hey, there's that KSL Sports app I keep hearing about. I'm hearing it's awesome.
Try it.
It has tons of cool stuff on it. You know what's there that really applies this week? You can watch live high school football playoff games on the app on Friday, starting as early as 4 p.m.
It's pretty awesome.
Check it out.
Have a great weekend. We'll be back next week with week 2 of the high school state playoffs.